Thank you for joining us once more on Give It a Name with Jennylyn, the show that you can choose to name by going to my website, giveitanametv.com, and letting me know what you think the segment should be called. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with these two handsome gentlemen over here on my left. They are retired San Francisco Giant players. On my immediate left is Mr. Terry Whitfield and Mr. Edward Ricks, and I cannot wait for them to share all their fame and all the wonder that they've had while they were playing professionally, and also share with us what they're both doing now with their lives. So, Terry, I'd like to start with you. Thank you for coming today.
It's a pleasure. And
I was going to ask you at what age you knew you wanted to become a professional player and how you got started.
Oh, wow. Basically, I wanted to be a professional football player. My mother played a lot of softball. I traveled around. I watched her play. My sisters, I have 5 sisters. I was the only boy in the family at the time. And, you know, I just watched baseball all the time. So I started playing just to play the pastime. And as I got older, I still stuck with baseball, but football was my main game. And then once I graduated from high school, I was the #1 draft choice for the New York Yankees, and that decided my future right there.
Wow! Wow! So you really wanted to play football?
Yes.
And ended up being a professional baseball player?
Much better football player than I was baseball.
Do your team players know you feel this way?
At the time, no. You know, the time I was coming up, once you chose a sport, you couldn't go back to college and play the other sport like they do now. And once I chose baseball, I had a hard time, you know, dealing with, you know, but not playing football or anything like that. But you know, that's something you choose in life. And I'm not regretting what I did, because I really had a good career and met a lot of people and traveled around the world. So it worked out. Oh,
great. So Ed, same question.
I committed to playing baseball. I started to play about 8 or 9, but it was just, you know, playing organized baseball. But I got serious at 12. I decided I want to be a professional baseball at 12 years old. I can remember writing a biography in my 6th grade class. I actually had the nerve to stand in front of the class and read the biography and said that's what I wanted to do, become a professional baseball. Had no idea how it was going to happen, but at 12 I committed to it and put the time in, and I found out I had some talent at it. And after graduating from high school, I received a scholarship to Grambling State University, and from there I was drafted by the Yankees as well as Terry, a year after Terry. But during that time I also played basketball. But even though I was good at basketball, I had a passion and a strong desire to play baseball. And to clear your opening statement up, I did not play for the San Francisco Giants. He's the one that got lucky. We started out with the New York Yankees together, and that's how we became friends, and that friendship lasts until today. I always say he got lucky and got out of the Yankees organization because we kind of spent a lot of time in the minor leagues at AAA, the highest level. He was going up and down during that time, and after he left, coming to the Giants, I was kind of on that same trip, going up and down and up and down. And being called to the Major League is probably one of the greatest highlights of my career. And, you know, and so we just shared a lot of stories and a lot of struggling in the minor leagues trying to get to the big leagues.
Wow, well, thank you for correcting me. I, for some reason, thought you were also on the Giants team.
Yeah.
I think as people who we look on at you sports guys, and you guys look, you know, bigger than life, because so many people want to do what you've done. There's so many people that are passionate about the different sports, and everybody wants to be a professional player for whatever their sport is. Why do you think, I ask you this question, Terry, why do you think you made it to where what do you think gave you, apart from your ability, how do you think you got there to actually get on a professional team?
Well, just the way my parents raised me. We're a type of kids where you know, at the young age, we had to clean up theaters and clean up different offices. I was raised up in the country, and you know, my father worked for GE, was the sheetrock industry, and then he later became a clerk for Safeway.
Okay.
But at the time he had 5 daughters and he needed some extra cash, so he took side jobs, and we worked those side jobs, and this discipline and understanding what needed to be done and all. And I just took the baseball for just playing, and football was more serious. I won that punt, pass, and kick, and I played basketball, and I high jumped 6'9" in track. So I was just always involved in doing some things. And my mother was always playing softball with my sisters and all. And I guess that was part of it.
Okay. And you, Ed?
Basically the same path. Being committed to sports, music, or whatever you aspire to do as a kid. It doesn't have to be sports, but that foundation that comes from your parent and your commitment and your passion, it's going to take a lot of passion. And what makes you, I wouldn't say better, but your commitment to do a little bit more than the other guy is going to get you probably a better chance of achieving what you set out to achieve. So I guess the key word is commitment, passion, and a desire to see it through. I mean, when you choose sports, music, or any other venture you wanted to choose, there's going to be some ups and downs if you're willing to deal with the low part as well as the high part, because in order to be successful, you got to experience some lows. And I think just a strong will and a strong desire to be successful at something. And you mentioned sports because that's our area of expertise, I guess. But we try, as we coach, we try to inspire kids to do other things. Sports is something that we do. That's not who we are. We are fathers, parents, uncles, and stuff like that. And we try to be a pillar of the community. Sports is just a small part of our life. So don't see us as, a lot of people, and I really get tired of, they identify me as a baseball player.
Right.
That's not all I am. I'm more than that. I like to think that I am. I mean, maybe that's all people see, but I think that's pretty shallow when you first meet somebody and they identify you as a baseball player. But I guess that's all they have to go on until they meet me.
I was going to say, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was just going to speak from the perspective of the person who's on the outside looking at you guys. A lot of times we would never have met or heard of some of the people we know were it not for whatever they're doing that's made them famous. So although it's not the right way to identify you, it's kind of the way that people become familiar with you and what you're doing. So what would you say was your greatest sport moment in sports?
Well, I would say my first time I ever got to play in front of my family, when I got traded to the Giants and being able, we had spring training in Florida, and I was born and raised in Blythe, California. And when I got traded, I said, I was going home. So where spring training was from Blythe was about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. So, a lot of my family got the chance to come over and see me, my grandmother, aunts and uncles. But the first greatest moment was being able to be in that lineup with opening day with the Dodgers, playing against the Dodgers, and looking up and having my family up there and seeing me live play. And that was the greatest moment for me. Although, going to Yankee Stadium and being able to play, well, I didn't get to play there, but we were playing at Shea at the time, but being able to go in there and play with the Yankees was a great honor, and I wish I would have stayed there. But there again, you have to move on. And it was really tough because, being from California and being out there, and at that time, it was hard for your family to come out. And mostly all my family was here on the West Coast. So I enjoyed it, I learned, but yet it's nothing like being in San Francisco.
Oh, great. And you, Ed?
It's similar, but I think it's not a long story, but just getting a call saying you're going to the Major League was kind of like, you kind of lift you off the ground because you put so much time into it, and you almost have to pinch yourself. Did I do this? It's kind of like a dream coming true. It's an euphoric moment. Just to get that call, and from there, everything happening off of there is pretty much part of what you're supposed to do. But to get that call saying you've been called to the Major League is probably one of the most overwhelming experiences I've had. I've thrown no-hitters and had great games and stuff like that. but nothing can match that because it's the epitome of what you have put so much time and dreamed about and, you know, talked about, and you can see, okay, I'm there. I can go to the big stage now.
I completely get that, because there's so many things in my life that I've wanted so badly, and you work hard. And I'm just a person who works hard for any cause I believe in. And a lot of times along the way, you meet people who encourage you, as well as people who think you're wasting your time. And I think that the one thing that's worked for me, and I encourage everyone else listening, if they don't do this, to make it a part of, you know, their way of dealing with things, is to close your ear to those people. Because I think if you love it bad enough and you want it bad enough, you'll get it.
Right.
You just have to keep on going. Well, great. I mean, it's so inspiring to listen to. And you both seem to have such a passion for it. I think that in itself has probably led to a lot of your success.
Right.
Because sometimes if you want something, you don't want it bad enough, you may get it or you may not. And if you don't get it, it's probably because you didn't try hard enough sometimes. Although that's not always the truth. So what was your funniest baseball moment?
Funniest? Like I said, we spent a lot of time together. I mean, that's how we become best friends. And as he's a funny guy. I mean, he's not like a comedic type guy. It's just something personal between me and him. We have this aura about us of this. I can know when he's mad. I can know when he's happy, and he's always happy. But I was, you know, I'm a kind of a student of the game. He's more of a natural. He's a player of the game. And I was asking one time, I goes, "What pitch did you hit?" He goes, "I don't know." And he had hit home run. I'm trying to get some philosophy on how to pitch to him if I ever pitch to him.
Yes.
And he came back to the dugout. And I goes, "What pitch did you hit?" He goes, "I don't know. I just hit it." So I thought that was pretty funny. And there's been several incidents like that along the way where he's done stuff that was pretty amazing. And you try to get information to help you if you ever faced him, or just try to get an idea of what not to do to a similar hitter. But he wasn't giving me any information other than the fact that I saw the ball hit the ball. So he wasn't much of a technician at that time. But as time went on, he became more of a technician. He's more of a teacher now.
Okay.
An aspect of that.
What was your funniest moment? And why?
Man, there's a lot of them.
Okay, tell us some. We want to hear.
No, the thing about it is, when you play baseball, you meet different people from different walks of life. Everybody have old sayings and little neon nonsense they do. I think the greatest time that I have, the funniest and more enjoyable time I had is when I was with the Yankees, and you know, we used to ride on the bus, and you know, you had Mickey Rivers and Oscar Gamble, and you know, all the different Thurman Munson, all the guys just sit up there and just crack jokes all the time. And I tell you, it was just a wonderful time. You know, I think one of the biggest things that happened to me is, you know, I was playing in Fort Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale, and I went back on this one ball. We were playing the Texas Rangers, and I messed up. All right, and you know, the next day, almost the same exact similar thing. I was playing center field. I went back, the same almost ball and everything. I went back and I caught this ball. You know, and after the game, we rode the bus back to Fort Lauderdale. So anyway, I was just really exhausted. This was my first year at Major League Camp, and so a young man came by and he started talking to me, and I thought it was a reporter. Yeah. And he said, "Oh, Terry, that was great that you went back and you made that correction. You did this, you did that." He kept on going on, and I said, "Sir, I'm sorry. I need to take a shower. I'm tired." He said, "Okay, that's all right. You know, just go and take a shower. You know, I just want to let you know you did a very good job." Yeah. So after he left, all the guys started laughing, like Thurman Munson and Alex Johnson, and they started laughing. And I said, "What's up?" He said, "That was George Steinberg." I said, "What?" And I said, "Who's that?" I didn't know he was the owner of the team at the time. so I'm going right to my shower. I said, "Oh my goodness!" But you know, believe it or not, I feel that George have really stood by me no matter what. Yes. He have stood by me when I was playing down there, and unfortunately, he got in that Watergate thing, and He's always been a promoter, where guys would come and like Gabe Paul at the time was the general manager,
right.
and they would bring guys up and ship guys down. My last year in AAA, we won everything, and certain guys were going up, and I wasn't going up. I had a good year and all, but it was no big deal. I did what I needed to do.
Right.
So George came off the probation that he had with Major League Baseball, and I figured I'd stay around Syracuse for a couple of weeks and drive on back to Blythe in California. But as soon as George found out that I wasn't coming up, he called down personally, got me on this plane, and flew me to New York. And I got there in time for the game, and I got my uniform on, and I went outside, and these trays in the tunnel, they had a whole lot of food, and it's a lot of shrimp. And this guy was walking by with the tray, and I said, "Hey, can I have some of that?" So he gave me, some food, and as soon as I put that in my mouth, and here comes George, so oh shoot! But he said, "Son, I'm glad you're here, and from now on, I want you to be a Yankee." And that was the biggest thrill in my life.
Awesome!
Yeah,
what a great story.
Yeah.
Well, how are you guys? Are you still actively involved with the Giants players now? I mean, I'm sure that you know them, but do you still participate in activities?
Well, being a former Giants, the Giants always want their alumni to be involved in different activities, that they do, and they're very well really creating a good foundation for other teams can follow too.
Okay.
We have an old timers game, and they're trying to get all the guys from the different areas to get together and talk, and they invite guys to golf events and all that, and they're really is turning around to make veterans, alumni, really comfortable coming to the ballpark.
Oh, great!
And, it's really a pleasure to be part of the Giants alumni that go out and do various things for them. Okay.
Have either of you ever, I'll ask you, have you ever had an injury that's affected your ability to play as much as you were hired to?
Yes, actually, career-ending shoulder problem ended my career. I mean, I didn't have a longer stint in the major league as Terry did and some of my other counterparts. And in my teaching now, that's why I'm so involved in making sure that young kids get it correct, and then because there's so much pressure on you in the minor leagues to get to the major league, and I was pitching at times when I shouldn't have been pitching, but I was taught that sometimes you have to do things when you're not feeling well. And a lot of times that's not a smart move, but as you struggle or put your time in to try to achieve certain things, you kind of omit, I'm hurt today. And injuries can derail your path to what you had planned for yourself. But, again.
And so when that happens, you just leave, and then what?
I hung around for a couple of years. I went to Mexico for a year, then I had got traded, and then, it was pretty much at the end. I was at the end of my career. So.
Wow. So what are you both doing now? Would you like to share with me and my viewers what you're doing with your lives now? I'll start with you, Terry.
Well, when I was in Japan, when I left the Giants, I was sold to Japan to be able to play over there. And I went over there in a wide open mind and to learn. Most Americans that leave, they go to Japan, they figure they're at the end of their career, and they just go over there just for the money part and play and have fun. I went over there to learn, and I went over there at a young age, 28 years old, and I had an opportunity in my contract to buy my contract back if I didn't feel comfortable over there. But when I got over there, the guy told me, your first year, if you have a good year, your second year, you're going to have some problems. If your first year is bad, the next 2 years, you're going to do well.
Yeah.
But at that time, when I was struggling in my second year, I guess I went in and apologized to everybody for no reason at all. I just apologized. So anyway, I went and apologized to the manager for, something that I thought was right. and it was none of my business, but you know, I apologize anyway. So I guess when I got finished doing that, my hitting coach came down and he said, we're going to go batting practice. And he said, you don't know nothing about hitting. I said, yes, I don't know nothing about hitting, okay? So we went down there and he started showing me certain things about what my body was doing and how it flows together and understand where the power source comes from. And, you know, every game that we played, we used to go back and review our hitting, and we used to go and review how the pitchers were pitching to us, and you know, various things like that. So I think that one section really changed my whole life as far as what I wanted to do, because I was a good hitter. You know, like Ed said, you know, the ball would come, I hit the darn ball, and that was it. He asked me, what do you hit, curveball, fastball? I said, no, I hit the ball. But you know, I had the great ability to be able to do that. But what my time being there, it made me understand about the pitchers and the curve and the spin, picking up the spin of the ball, which made it much easier. And so I feel that what I've learned there, I wanted to bring back here and teach and be able to help youngsters to be able to have a good career in college or high school, wherever it may be. So I opened up a place called Future Pro Baseball. And it's a batting cage in Burlingame. We've been there for 6 years. Wow. And, you know, we have helped guys along the way. Some of the, you know, best stars that we have is what Jimmy Rollins was. He came to me at 10 years old. I have another guy that just got drafted, number one draft choice, Tyler Goodell. And various other guys have been able to go to college as well as playing in minor league baseball. So that's what we do now, is to teach, and the talents that we have, we try to share with them and hope that those kids don't have to go through some of the stuff that we went through.
Oh, that's great. So you're giving back to others what you've learned, which is what I think it should always be about. So are you doing the same thing now, Ed?
Yes,
You're
I'm currently a pitching coach for a local NC2A school in the city, and I also do private lesson with Terry at the facility.
Oh, I'm really happy to hear that. Well, as always, when you're having fun, time seems to fly. So we have to watch our time. But I wanted to ask both of you, would you want any of your children to follow in your footsteps? And why? I'll start with you, Terry.
I have 3 sons. My oldest son, he really wasn't interested in, you know, playing sports. He was interested in rapping. My second son, he likes baseball, but there again, he's in and out. But my third son is very, very passionate about playing. He's going to be starting at going to school at St. Francis down here in Mountain View. Okay. As a freshman next year. Okay. And he's just really excited, and that's, I mean, it's amazing that he really, really loves passion. But I think the best hitter of my family is going to be my young daughter. She's 6 years old. She can hit. You can see her on the video. Wow. And she hits just like my mother. He's a left-handed hitter, and she does everything right-handed. But she's probably got the best swing of them all.
Well, let's wait and see. Maybe I'm going to be sitting here interviewing her one day. How about you and your kids?
I just have the one daughter. To answer your question is, I look at baseball as life lesson. Whatever they choose, I think as a parent you would back them up. And some of the same skills and some of the same passion that you're going to need to whatever you choose in life kind of applies to baseball. Baseball is more of a physical sport, a more visual sport, but you know, you try to make the right decision, whether it's baseball or whatever it is that you choose. So the answer to that question is yes, but I don't have to worry about her playing baseball at the level that I play because she's a girl. So, but if I had a son, I probably would encourage him in whatever he chooses to do.
Great answer.
Thank you.
Great answer. I think too many parents try to tell their children what to do.
We see that all the time, and it really, you know, it's the expectations are too high of the parents, and the odds of actually playing Major League Baseball are probably about 95, 96 that you won't. So, but I would, you know, I wouldn't tell a kid to look at those odds and choose not to, because if I had to do it again, I would do it again. I would do some things differently, certainly, but I'm not going to say I would do the same thing because I end up in the same place. I can only control what's in my power. And the man upstairs already has a plan for me. So.
I think that's the thing about wisdom. You look back and you think, darn it, if I had known that then,
Right.
this is what I would have done.
How many times we've said that, right?
Right, and I think that's why they're called lessons, because
Right.
although they may not have turned out the way we wanted them,
Right.
we can look back and see what we would do different, which is good, because hopefully we won't do it again.
And we take passion in sharing that with our students because, I mean, we come from experience and we take a passion, you know, to make sure. I mean, we don't try to make you understand what we've been through, but we certainly want to share that with you. It's up to you as an individual to try to process the information that we're giving to you. I think that's one of our greatest tools as instructors, is the passion, and to try to really have a passion to share.
Okay, so we're almost out of time, but I want to ask this question. Do you have any kids right now within the group that you're coaching that you see has the potential to become a professional player?
He just had
I just have one. I'm just, you know, Tyler Goodell. I was working with him ever since he was 6.5 years old.
Really?
And now he's #1 draft choice for the Tampa Devil Rays. And you know, we don't know what he's going to do. He has a full ride scholarship to UCLA, and you know, we don't know what he's going to do. I mean, we know he's going to UCLA if he doesn't sign. Another guy at the same age, I had him when he was like 8.5, is Gio. He's going to Stanford now. He was on the same team as Tyler was at St. Francis, and there's 3 other guys that was there that going to various different universities. So yes, I do have quite a few of them.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to 1 minute. I'm going to give both of you a quick minute or a few minutes just to say something to anyone out there who looks at this, but it seems unattainable. What would you like them to know?
Never give up. Whatever your heart desires, when people say no, you can't do it, just try hard. I tell you by experience, I used to go out there and run and give 110%. And some of these guys, when Ed could tell you, they say, "What are you running hard for?" You know, I had a plan. I knew where I wanted to go, and you know, I was going to get there, and I got there. So never give up. You know, believe that you can do it.
Thank you. You?
Choose a goal and be willing to be passionate about it. Whatever that goal is, choose it. And like you said earlier, don't worry about the naysayers. Focus on your goal and be willing to accept the ups and the down part of it. And wherever you get from there, you're going to be a winner, as long as you can look in the mirror and know that you've done your best. So choose a goal and put the time in. And again, it's up to the man upstairs to determine how far you're going to go.
Thank you guys so much. Again, thank you once more for joining me on Give It a Name with Jennylyn. I'm hoping that you are inspired by what you heard today. And if you're someone who wants to play, you heard what they had to say. These are the experts. Again, thank you. Thanks to my crew, and thanks to my guests, and thank you to the Rug Center. I have a great set, a pretty rug on my set. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.